All right, do you really need an attorney to help you draft a simple last will and testament? Man, this is such a great question. I actually just had someone in my office who came in, him and his spouse, and he's basically telling me, look, I got a really simple situation. We just want everything to go to our daughter, and that's it. And that's it. So why do I even need an attorney? And I knew from the beginning. Look, I'm never going to be able to convince anybody to use an attorney, not use an attorney. That's that's just not what I'm going to do. But in my head, I'm thinking, well, I don't know. Do you made the decision to come here and meet with an attorney? And the funny thing was, he actually had a will that he printed off himself. He told me he filled in everything, but he just never got around to having it signed. He never signed it himself and never got around to having it notarized. So, do you need an attorney? No, nobody needs an attorney necessarily. What I suggest, and to his credit, he watched a webinar that I had put together. Him and his spouse attended it, and it really brought up a lot of stuff that he hadn't thought about. Right? In his mind, this is very simple. I leave everything to my daughter, and during the webinar, I said, yeah, but what happens if she gets married, and all that money you left to her, and they get divorced? Guess who gets half of it? The spouse. Right? Or, what happens if you die and your wife remarries and then they get divorced? Guess who gets half of the inheritance that you left? Well, now your, wife's ex-husband. So there were a lot of stuff that he hadn't really thought about, hadn't considered. Now, those things may or may not be of concern to you. They're of concern to a lot of people. But if you view estate planning and doing a will just as a very simple check the box, I did a will, then you're probably not going to use an attorney. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of templates that you can download online that you could do very cheaply for maybe even less than $100 at this point. And if that is what you're looking for, then, that's probably what you could do. My thought on the matter, and obviously I'm a little biased because I practice in this area, but I've spent many years, over a decade, studying wills and trusts, reading the laws, attending seminars, attending conferences, reviewing these. It's what I do. So clearly I'm going to be more of an expert than just a person off the street who wants to do it. I'm going to think about things, or an experienced estate planning attorney is going to think about things, ask questions hopefully, and bring up things that you might not have thought of, that might not be as cut and dry as just a simple, fill in the blank template. And so even though, I always encourage people, look, it's not necessarily just about the documents, right? Because the documents could relatively be simple. What I tell most people they're paying for is the knowledge and the peace of mind, and then the relationship that they're going to have with that attorney. And so if you get peace of mind just from filling in the documents yourself, and you're good with that, then I suppose that might be good. But if you're someone who wants to use a professional, wants to have that relationship, even if it's a relatively simple situation, then again, I'm not going to tell you to do it yourself, but that might be enough for you to do. If it's just to check the box, then that might be simple enough to do. But again, there's potentially a lot at stake. You're leaving things. You want to make sure that you're protected. You want to have probably some incapacity planning for yourself in case something happens to you. But can you do a will yourself? That was the whole premise of the video, and I thought it was very timely, having just met with this prospective client. Obviously, you could probably do it yourself, just like you could, go to WebMD and diagnose yourself. But, law, medicine, there's a reason that the professions have been around for such a long time, and that people spend a lot of time and money training in them and practicing them. So, maybe it's worth your time and money to consult with a professional. But there's also a lot of do-it-yourself out there, and if you're one of those persons, more power to you.